Here we go. Hey everyone, welcome back to another week of the Cyber Talk Unfiltered. Not unnamed anymore, so I think we can drop that. And it's been a crazy week, to say the least. And here in New Jersey, anyway, yesterday when I got in the car, it was 112 degrees.
Yeah, not how I wanted a sauna. I mean, by default.
Anyway.
I skipped the part where we moved to like the tropic, and I don't know what's going on. But
yeah, we're getting all the heat and none of the benefit of like a beautiful area and the beach and stuff like that. So,
I mean, I have beaches, but the water's still cold. So,
well, you guys have like weird weather, crazy Michiganders in your lakes.
So, we got a lot of them. So there's that.
Anyway, crazy week. There was, I went to a networking event this morning, and somebody asked me, "What's this 16 million email password breach?"
Oh, billion?
Billion.
It's a B.
Yeah. What was weird about it is everybody's like, it's a breach. It's not a breach.
Not a breach.
The stuff we talked about last week with Chrome extensions, some of those can be info stealers. And that's what a lot of this was. It was just they were stealing credentials, harvesting credentials from known people, from good credentials, because a lot of the stuff was just not seen before. It was researchers
passwords that weren't seen before.
Yeah, like username and password combinations that weren't seen before. It's really interesting because it was 30 unprotected databases that the researchers found this stuff on. It's already being passed around, I think, on the dark web too, but Google, Apple, Facebook, GitHub, Telegram, some government portals, all of the stuff was stolen from info stealers. So they got on the machine somehow. Probably a lot of them are Chrome extensions or some sort of extension like that. And yeah, just a bunch more information that we have to worry about.
Information soup. Info soup.
Yeah, so obviously change passwords, right? If you don't have multi-factor authentication, what are you doing? At this point, what are you doing? Like, come on! Like, can we just like password managers?
Be honest about it.
Yeah, password manager your friends. If you can use passkeys, switch to passkeys. If you don't know what that is, we can talk a little bit more about that. It's a little bit different, but it's a lot of this is going to be personal credentials. But like I said, some of those stuff is government too. So it really questions the government's ability to notice that info stealers are on their computers too. So that's an interesting thing that people think would be figured out, but maybe not.
So speaking of info stealers,
yep.
The other day we were doing a risk assessment, and we jumped on a couple of the hosted servers for one of these prospects that we get there and they connect. I get there and they connect, and it was pre-logged in already, running some applications. And one of the screens that one of the web server front end that this guy connected to show me had an open browser on it to a video game site, an interactive game that their developer apparently logs into the web server to go play this multiplayer game. And I do. Special. And if you talk about info stealers, it's like, okay, well, what happens when that game does something interesting? It wasn't a download; it was all a web-based game. But like we talked about browser extensions, that's definitely a risk. Mm-hmm. And 3 clicks later, I could see all the backups that were sitting there with client data in them. And they were like, "Oh, guess we need to fix that."
Yeah, lack of policy, lack of good practice, terrible decision in general, but wow.
Scary part is I talked to them about this 2 years ago. Same thing.
And this is a developer?
Yeah.
I mean, people like to mix work and play, I guess. And something we got to be careful of. But I don't know.
I just don't know why you have to, with everyone having great internet at home, why do you have to go connect to my data center, one of the data center machines to play a game?
That is interesting.
What else are you going to do when you're bored at work and you don't have anything to do?
Your job.
Find something else to benefit the company? Play video games. It's a lot better.
It wasn't even a video game. It was a card game.
I've seen this so many times.
Now it just sounds boring.
Yeah.
What?
I mean,
I know.
I joke about it, but I've seen it so many times. People doing that stuff, people browsing certain websites, people participating in certain things that they shouldn't do while they're at work. Then you add something like web filtering to it, and you find all these little things that are happening, and people are really shocked by it. There was one, we had a customer once where somebody was caught watching stuff and doing an act that you're not supposed to do at work. And they didn't get fired because they were the only person that knew the code for some of their programming, because they didn't own the source code. This person basically provided it and wouldn't give it up to them and held them hostage.
Oh.
So, yeah. That's the real world, unfortunately. Like, there's just certain things that people allow that just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Blows my mind. And it leads to this stuff. You know, to that point, it kind of leads to this. Like, you get things on there, like letting people be admin, letting people install whatever they want, letting people browse wherever they want. You know, oh, we don't want to put restrictions on our employees, so on lunch they can browse things. Dude, that's why they have a phone.
So Chris, getting back to the 16 billion passwords that usernames and passwords out there, you know, why do we care? What could they use it for?
Couldn't they use it for?
Well,
I mean, we know human behavior, right? Human behavior is use passwords across multiple websites. Let's be real. Normal person uses the same password across multiple websites.
Sure.
If they have that combination, they will automate this and they will run attacks against random websites and just be able to get in there.
Like password spraying, right? Like simplify it. Hey, someone gets my Gmail username and password, they might assume, well, Matt lives in Pittsburgh. What banks are in Pittsburgh? Let's try logging into those websites.
Well, the other thing where I was going with that is, it's now a massive dictionary of passwords to try.
Mm-hmm. Just automate, hitting everything.
Yeah, word lists are so useful for trying to crack passwords. It's a lot better than actually trying to crack it. So using word lists like this and using variations of the passwords is so much easier, so much quicker. And now they just have a huge list of passwords. Now, and that's 16 billion records. We don't know how many duplicates there are. There's going to be duplicates, obviously. So whatever, somebody's probably going to clean that up and do it. But yeah, it just makes it easier. Makes everything easier for people.
You know, I've deduped a lot of data, not 16 billion anything. That's impressive.
It's a big text file, dude.
It's a big file. It's a big data.
You ain't open that notepad. It's going to crash. Also, but if you want to use Notepad++, there's a good one for Notepad++. If you didn't see this, there's a major problem with Notepad++ right now that can just give you system level access, and there's a POC for it too as well.
Dang, I had not seen that.
How to leverage it? Yeah, so
it's extremely popular in the developer world too. Not to bash on developers today.
Yeah, well, it's open source, it's free, and they give you and you give free complete system control from it.
It's a feature.
So if you have Notepad++ version 8.8.1. Whoops, it was released on May 5th. There's an uncontrollable executable search path that enables local privilege escalation attacks. So they get to admin, and then you're owned.
Wow.
So they did release 8.8.2 that already has fixed it, but people update. So
it's just a text editor though, guys.
Yeah. Well, just a text editor. Just a free open source thing. Somebody can just go down and install. Don't have versioning for software. Don't have vulnerability scanning. It's fine, guys. It's fine. It's fine. We're fine. Nothing bad's going to happen. Nobody wants to hack us. Oh, we have data. We have money. Nobody wants anything. Sorry, may have got went a little too far there. But you know who does have data that people want? Aflac. Aflac has data that people want.
That's an upset duck right now. Remember the Aflac duck? Aflac.
Dude, Nick what is it? Nick Saban? Yeah, Nick Saban and Primetime are out there going to be doing commercials for somebody else after this because this is bad. On June 12th, they got compromised. The rumor is it was some sort of fake tech support thing. We'll see how that goes. They published an 8K, and they said it wasn't ransomware in their 8K. I was impressed by that. They actually said it wasn't ransomware. And they said that they initiated their cybersecurity incident response protocols, and they believe they contained the intrusion within hours. Hours. The problem is they have no idea right now how many total affected individuals are going to be affected by this. So over the next coming months, we'll eventually find out, and you will get letters saying that your information was stolen again, and you will get probably 1 to 2 years of credit monitoring.
I'm going to have credit monitoring until I'm dead. At this point,
yeah, we need a law to force them to be stacked. And also, the problem with it too is they use different ones from like all the time. So like sometimes you're gonna have like IDX, sometimes you're gonna have other ones, stuff like that. So it's kind of like kind of crazy in that sense.
So in the past couple of weeks, we've had Aflac, we've had Erie, Aflac, and there was another insurance company at the same time frame, Philadelphia.
Yeah. Insurance companies right now are under heavy attack.
Okay, it was actually Erie, then Philadelphia, and then Aflac is where they were hit.
Yeah, there's like a major push into insurance companies right now because again, look what they have. They have critical information for people, Social Security numbers, right?
Actually, Erie and Philadelphia are a subsidiary of one bigger company.
Whoops.
Toco Marine Holdings.
Yeah, but Aflac does sound like it was a social engineering attack. So somebody tricked somebody into resetting passwords or something like that, gave access. And we'll find out because health information will be on there too. So it'll be personal information, health information, Social Security numbers. Well, hopefully it's not too widespread, but we'll find out.
Well, that's something I wanted to, we don't really know much about how the Erie breach happened yet. Or, I mean, I feel like they said there was a breach and now they say there's no current intrusion. No one really knows, but Aflac, we know someone made a mistake at first, at least.
So I think there's a misnomer, and this is kind of a trend that we've been seeing with ransomware. Like they say it's not ransomware, but we've seen the model kind of shift in ransomware, right? So if you look at the data and you look at new reports from some of the bigger players, ransomware itself has shifted more into a model of extortion and less encryption. So they say it's not a ransomware attack. Well, what they mean by that is nothing was encrypted, but that doesn't mean they didn't steal the data and they're not trying to extort.
Right. That's fair.
So yeah, and that's kind of been the thing because I think people have got to the point now, especially big companies, where they have pretty robust backups and recovery strategies, and a lot of it is, well protected air gap systems that aren't accessible to these hackers, to delete the backups and things like that. So if you can't delete the backups, why are you going to do the encryption when you can just steal the data and extort it? I mean, you can still do the encryption, you still launch it. That's still happening, but the real money is in trying to get them to pay. And if they're just going to recover, because when you try to reverse encryption, it doesn't always work well. So they may have to go back to backup anyway. And in these large companies with this amount of data, they might just recover instead of just paying for the encryption key. So they're not getting paid for the encryption key. So like, well, screw it. Let's just move to extorting their data. Now, there is another player out there that we haven't really talked about. And I think it's Anubis ransomware. And these guys are, they're something special. They just decide that, you know what? If you're not going to pay the ransom, we're just going to wipe the data. We're not encrypting shit. We're just wiping it.
Oh, there you go.
So we're permanently erasing the contents of the files. So have fun. You're going back to your backup anyway. So that's an interesting take on that. And then you're going to really be testing, because if they wipe the files, how good are your backups? Are you missing data? Are you how good is the coverage of your backups? So yeah, it sounds like when they launch their wiper, it's gone. Like there's no recovering it. So you better have a good backup. So that's just kind of a trend we've kind of seen over the last, I'd say probably year. It's kind of moved more into the extortion aspect of it and less about the encryption, although it still happens. So
anyway, this was a cheerful conversation today.
It always is with us.
Hey, man, we got a lot of stuff. We got a lot of stuff to talk about in general because there's always something happening, right? Like,
yep. Sticking your head in the sand doesn't work. So it's more info you have, more you can keep an eye out for stuff.
I got one nugget left for this. I was reading a global threat report, and I've seen different numbers, but some places are saying that the average response window, you have about 48 minutes. That's how fast adversaries are working. These guys are working once they get inside. You have 48 minutes to stop them.
Mm-hmm.
They have a plan. They have a process.
They know exactly what they're trying to do. But it can get worse. It's that number is shrinking. It's shrinking very quickly. And AI is probably going to assist in that. It's probably going to help them shrink that timeline. So if you're not planning already with some automation, some AI to stop some level of attack in your business, and you're looking at 48 minutes, 48 minutes.
Takes longer than that to get Uber Eats to deliver food.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Affleck just admitted that they had to. It took them hours to get it under control after it already started. So you have 48 minutes from the time they start. Well, how long is it going to take for you to contain it, eradicate it? Especially if you don't have a plan. So you keep harping on that stuff like that, but yeah. So 48 minutes, not 48 hours, 48 minutes. And on that note, on that sunny disposition, by the way, I'm in a business group, and these people I don't think ever want me to come into it because I think they're going to start calling me Dr. Doom because they ask me like what's going on, and then I answer them honestly, and then they just look at me like I'm crazy. I did have an interesting one last week. This will be the last thing I'll talk about. I had a guy go off in a business meeting against like IT and like stuff that we do, and say that basically that we're evil. That we're using like psychology to manipulate people. It was the most interesting meeting I'd been in. He either got kicked or left. I'm not sure. But it was like almost a personal attack against us, saying that we're trying to complicate things. Nobody needs IT. Nobody needs technology. The world would be fine without technology.
That's fine. He can go that route.
Absolutely. But if you look at the way that we work today, we can't do almost anything at the level that we do without technology. Like we would like you're taking huge steps back if you try to take technology out of it. I think his anger was more about he doesn't want to hear about the stuff because he wants to put his head in the sand.
Yeah,
just hide away from it instead of facing the reality. Because a lot of small business owners, and this is not a knock on anybody in particular, you do everything in your business. You feel like you have to be the expert in everything in your business. And the reality is you don't. There's a book out there called Who Not How. I highly recommend you go look it up and read it. Stop trying to figure out how to do cybersecurity in your business, how to do IT in your business. Figure out who can help you do it better. And that's when it'll change. And that could go for legal, that can go for HR, that can go for anything else in the business, but it's the who that's going to help you grow your business. It's the who that's going to help you protect yourself. That's all I got.
No, I agree. And honestly, their anger is valid, but misplaced.
Yeah, well, it felt really personal in that meeting, by the way. It was really personal because I was the only tech person in there. So
yeah, I get it.
You know, it always comes back to this one in the meeting. I guess you're just too small to make the news, guys. And you know, everyone's getting breached, and that's what we remind people. And now with all the class action suits, it's crazy. Anyway, what's on tap for next week? Actually, we're going to open this up. If anyone has a topic that they would like us to talk about next week, drop it where you're viewing this, and we'll get it into the schedule and go from there.
Yeah, I'll see if I can get that 16 billion password thing, and then just send me your passwords, and I'll tell you if it's in there.
Oh, there we go. That'll work.
That's a joke. Don't do that.
We could create that site and put it up now. It's the password checker.
There's a lot of sites out there already doing that.
Yeah, I know. Anyway, try and stay cool, guys. And Matt, try and keep the car on the road.
No, it stayed on the road. It just didn't keep all the wheels present. That's fine. That's another story.
We might have to open up with that one next week.